The Venator-class Star Destroyer was a versatile and powerful ship, designed by Lyra Wessex and built by Kuat Drive Yards for the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars. These ships were referred to by several names, including Jedi cruisers, Republic cruisers, Republic attack cruisers, and Republic Star Destroyers, reflecting their multiple roles and uses during the war. The Venator class was classified as a cruiser, attack cruiser, battleship, and destroyer. It was designed to serve as a flagship for the Republic's naval operations. The ship's overall dimensions ranged between 1,137 and 1,155 meters in length, with a wingspan of 548 meters and a height of 268 meters. This impressive size was complemented by powerful deflector shields and robust hull armor plating, allowing the ship to withstand significant damage in battle. The Venator class also boasted a sophisticated long-range sensor suite and navigation computer to help guide it through space. A Venator-class Star Destroyer typically carried a crew of 7,400 personnel, which included officers, pilots, and enlisted crew. It was also capable of transporting 2,000 troops and 7,000 metric tons of cargo. The ship was designed to be self-sufficient, with sufficient consumables to last up to 2 standard years. The Venator's armaments were designed for both offense and defense, including turbolaser batteries, ion cannons, point defense laser cannons, and proton torpedo launchers, making it a formidable force in both space battles and planetary assault missions. Its hangar space was capable of holding thousands of starfighters, gunships, and ground vehicles, further enhancing its combat versatility. With such a combination of advanced technology and firepower, the Venator class played a pivotal role in the Clone Wars, serving as the backbone of the Republic's naval fleet. The Venator-class Star Destroyer, while primarily designed for space operations, could perform atmospheric landings, though it generally required specialized landing strips. On Coruscant, for example, Venators typically relied on cruiser staging areas to safely land and take off due to their size and the need for precise handling. Unlike smaller vessels such as the Acclamator-class assault ships, which could land directly on the surface using deployable legs, the Venator's landing capabilities were less versatile. However, during certain battles, surface landings were possible. Notably, during the Battle of Kashyyyk, a Venator-class Star Destroyer managed to land near the city of Kachirho, allowing it to deploy Republic ground forces to support the Wookiee defenders against the Separatist forces. This event demonstrated the Venator's ability to land on a planet's surface, even if it was a rare occurrence. To assist in atmospheric operations, the Venator was equipped with retro rockets. These specialized engines could be activated during atmospheric descent or to assist with takeoff from planetary surfaces, helping to slow the ship's descent or maneuver within the atmosphere as needed. Despite these capabilities, the Venator was not designed for prolonged surface operations, and landing on natural terrain was uncommon for such large capital ships. The Venator-class Star Destroyer was a formidable warship equipped with a wide array of advanced weaponry, making it a versatile asset for the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars. Its weapon systems included both long-range turbolaser cannons and close-quarters defenses, allowing it to engage targets at a variety of ranges. The Venator's primary weaponry consisted of 8 double-barreled DBY-827 heavy turbolaser turrets located on the dorsal side of the ship. 4 turrets were positioned on each side of the bridge area. These turrets had multiple firing modes, capable of alternating between barrels for rapid fire or firing both barrels simultaneously for increased power. With precise long-range tracking capabilities, the DBY-827 was effective against distant targets, while its quick rotation mode enabled it to engage fast-moving enemies at close range. The turrets were equipped with 7 blast intensity settings, allowing the Venator to modulate the damage inflicted based on the situation. In battle, the ship could direct most of its reactor power to fuel its heavy guns, maximizing its offensive capabilities when needed. In addition to the turbolasers, the Venator was equipped with AV-7 anti-vehicle artillery cannons, which were originally designed for ground combat, but mounted on the ship for use as artillery. These cannons were positioned on the ship's artillery decks, aimed perpendicular to the ship's length to target enemy vessels at close range. However, they were vulnerable to explosion if hit by enemy fire during battles. For anti-starfighter defense, the Venator had at least 52 point defense laser cannons. These included swiveling double-barreled turrets that could engage starfighters in all directions, ensuring the ship could defend itself against swarms of smaller, faster craft. Additionally, the point defense guns could be used for target practice, with explosive skeet being launched for gunners to hit. Near the front of the ship, there were 2 sets of medium dual turbolasers along the hull trench, designed for engaging targets at medium range. The aft section featured light laser cannons to protect against enemy starfighters. The Venator also had 4 heavy proton torpedo launchers and 6 heavy tractor beam projectors, further enhancing its combat effectiveness. Used for target practice, with explosive skeet being launched for gunners to hit. In some cases, the Venator class was equipped with beam weapons mounted on the ventral docking bay. These powerful weapons could deliver concentrated shots strong enough to destroy enemy vessels, such as the Munificent-class Star Frigate, in a single blast. The ship also had various other gun emplacements spread across its hull trenches, offering a comprehensive range of firepower to engage multiple threats simultaneously. With its extensive range of weapons, the Venator-class Star Destroyer was a highly versatile and deadly warship, capable of taking on enemy capital ships, starfighters, and ground targets with equal effectiveness. The Venator-class Star Destroyer was powered by a sophisticated system of ion thrust engines that provided it with remarkable speed and maneuverability in space. The ship featured a total of 8 or 10 ion thrust engines arranged symmetrically at the aft of the vessel, with half on the port side and half on the starboard side. These engines were of 3 distinct sizes, designed for different levels of thrust, ensuring the ship could accelerate rapidly and maneuver effectively in space combat. Each engine consisted of multiple chambers and rings, which were coated with a blast primer coating to protect the system from the extreme conditions of space travel and to manage the heat produced by the ion thrust. The propulsion system operated through a process where pulses of energy sparked off the reactor core rods, providing the necessary force to propel the ship. In the event of a failure in the primary engines, auxiliary power could be activated to ensure the ship remained functional. This redundancy ensured that the Venator class was capable of continuing operations, even if a portion of its engines malfunctioned. However, if 3 engines on either the starboard or port side failed, the auxiliary systems would kick in to maintain thrust and avoid catastrophic loss of power. The engines could also be controlled individually from the command bridge, giving the crew precise control over the ship's movement. However, the ion thrust engines were extremely powerful, and exposure to the ion engines without protective gear could cause serious burns. Such injuries required immediate medical attention, though the damage could typically be recovered from if the exposure was brief. Overall, the Venator-class Star Destroyer's engine system was a critical component of its design, offering both high speed and agility in battle, while ensuring the vessel could operate effectively even in adverse conditions. The Venator-class Star Destroyer was equipped with a powerful main hyperdrive system that provided the ship with significant jump capabilities across vast distances in space. Each Venator-class ship featured a Class 1.0 main hyperdrive, offering high-speed travel through hyperspace. This hyperdrive was capable of covering up to 60,000 light-years, making the ship highly effective in long-range travel and rapid response during the Clone Wars. In case of failure or a need for redundancy, the ship was also equipped with a backup hyperdrive, typically rated at Class 12 or 15. This secondary system ensured the vessel could continue its journey even if the primary hyperdrive system malfunctioned. The hyperdrive system was located in a dedicated compartment at the rear of the ship, nestled between the ship's ion drive thrusters. At the back of this compartment, a hyperdrive generator was installed. The main inertial compressor, an essential component for navigating hyperspace, was situated in front of the generator. Additionally, the stern power feeds were placed further ahead in the compartment. Inside the hyperdrive room, the layout was expansive, with walkways on multiple levels intersecting above a deep chasm. 4 tall columns stood in the center of the room, supporting the structure. These columns could be damaged or knocked loose if the ship sustained severe damage or force, posing a risk to the integrity of the hyperdrive system. Overall, the Venator-class Star Destroyer's hyperdrive system was a robust and advanced setup that ensured the ship could traverse the galaxy with impressive efficiency and redundancy, making it a formidable tool in the hands of the Republic. The Venator-class Star Destroyer featured an advanced and highly powerful power plant designed to support the ship's massive energy demands. At peak performance, the Venator's power output reached an impressive 3.6 times 10 to the 24th watts, providing the necessary energy for its numerous weapons, engines, and systems. The ship's main reactor, located along the center line beneath the bridge tower, was a large dome-shaped chamber capable of annihilating up to 40,000 tons of fuel per second at maximum output. This immense power generation allowed the Venator to sustain its formidable weapons systems, including heavy turbolasers and ion engines, as well as its shield and propulsion systems. The reactor's location and size were critical to ensuring efficient power distribution throughout the ship. In addition to the main reactor, the Venator-class Star Destroyer also featured two subsidiary reactors, which were smaller in size but still integral to maintaining power levels during combat, or when specific systems required additional energy. These subsidiary reactors were positioned in the ship's aft wing sections, with one such reactor found in the left aft wing. These reactors were surrounded by power cells, providing additional energy storage to support the overall power grid. The ship also housed 6 annihilation reactant silos, designed to feed fuel into the main reactor, enabling it to generate immense power. The system's reactant pumps and ducts were located in the forward sections of the reactor, facilitating the transfer of energy. The reactor operation area of the Venator-class Star Destroyer was a complex compartment, containing 3 vertical shafts and suspended walkways that connected different sections of the reactor systems. The walkways converged at a central control station, from which the reactor's operations could be monitored and adjusted. This area was filled with clusters of cylindrical structures and extensive tubing that carried the necessary reactants and energy throughout the ship. Any damage to these critical systems, such as during battle, could leave the ship inoperable or severely crippled, underscoring the importance of these power systems to the overall functionality of the Venator-class Star Destroyer. The Venator-class Star Destroyer was designed with extensive hangar space, crucial for the rapid deployment of Republic starfighters, gunships, and ground forces. During the early stages of the Clone Wars, the Venator's hangar was one of its most significant features. The forward section of the ship contained a central passage measuring 0.5 kilometers in length, which ran through the middle of the vessel with bays on either side for starships. The primary access to these hangars was through large dorsal doors at the top of the ship, allowing starships to launch and land. At the bow of the passage, hyperspace transport rings were stored for use by Republic ships. As the passage moved towards the aft, doors in the floor could open to provide docking space for Republic frigates. This area also allowed for direct battlefield deployment of troops and walkers. In some cases, personnel could leap out of the ship directly onto the battlefield, and walkers could be deployed without the need for dropships, taking advantage of the space's flexibility. At the aft of the central hangar passage, there was a raised command station to oversee operations in the hangar and manage deployments. This command center ensured coordination for starfighter launches and the movement of troops and vehicles. In later models of the Venator class, particularly during the latter part of the war, modifications were made to the hangar design. These refits featured smaller dorsal doors instead of the larger access points, and the ventral side of the ship no longer provided access to the main hangar. The blast doors that once led to the hangar were replaced with additional lighting, cranes, and sometimes built-in weapons like a beam weapon. The side doors were also modified to connect a passage linking the two sides of the ship rather than leading to independent hangars. Despite these changes, the central hangar space remained essential for the deployment of Republic forces, though it was gradually adapted to accommodate the ship's evolving design priorities, including increased firepower. This shift in design reflected the growing demands of the war, as the Venator-class Star Destroyers were refitted to enhance combat capabilities at the cost of some of their hangar space. The Venator-class Star Destroyer was equipped with 2 bridges, each serving a distinct purpose to aid in the coordination of operations. The starboard bridge was the primary command center for the ship, overseeing general operations, tactics, and military strategies during battle. The port bridge, on the other hand, was dedicated to managing starfighter operations, coordinating launches and recoveries of starfighters, including Republic gunships and ARC-170s. Both bridges were raised above the main body of the destroyer, giving commanders a wide panoramic view of the battlefield, which allowed for strategic oversight. This elevated position also contributed to their vulnerability in combat, as their exposed nature made them susceptible to enemy fire. The bridges featured large front windows, offering a clear line of sight while sunken pits lay behind, providing space for the crew to operate various controls. A raised command walkway ran between these pits, enabling the commanders and senior officers to oversee the operations from a commanding position. This design would later be mirrored in Imperial ships, solidifying the hierarchical structure that would define the Galactic Empire's vessels. Further behind the primary command area, a hollow table was positioned between two sets of blast doors. The hollow table was a vital piece of equipment for visualizing and analyzing data, ship movements, and troop deployment, making it an essential tool for real-time battle coordination and strategic planning. This area could also be used for communications, ensuring the Venator-class could stay connected with other Republic forces and provide up-to-date reports during combat. The Venator-class Star Destroyer was designed to carry a significant complement of starfighters, bombers, and ground vehicles, making it highly effective in both space and planetary combat. The ship could accommodate up to 92 starfighters of various types, including Alpha 3 Nimbus-class V-Wing and V-19 Torrent starfighters, with the ship generally housing 192 of each. It also carried ARC-170 starfighters and ETA-2 Actis-class interceptors, with a total of 36 and 192 units respectively. Additionally, the Venator could deploy BTL-B Y-Wing bombers, which had bombing capabilities, as well as Clone Z-95 Headhunters and Delta-7B, Ether Sprite-class light interceptors. In terms of ground operations, the Venator could carry up to 40 LAATI gunships and transport 24 all-terrain tactical enforcer walkers, among other military walkers and support vehicles. The ship also housed various shuttles and transport craft, which were essential for deploying troops and equipment on the surface. With a cargo capacity of 20,000 tons, the Venator-class Star Destroyer had ample space for supplies, vehicles, and equipment. The ship was equipped with enough consumables to sustain its operations for up to 2 years, ensuring long-term deployment capabilities. This extensive complement of vehicles and aircraft allowed the Venator-class to perform a wide range of military operations, from space superiority to ground assaults, making it a formidable force during the Clone Wars. The Venator-class Star Destroyer had a crew of approximately 7,400 personnel, which included officers, pilots, and enlisted crew. Additionally, the ship could carry up to 2,000 troops. These troops could be deployed to planets or used in combat operations, and the Venator's design provided ample space for them to be stationed aboard. The combination of skilled crew members and a large contingent of troops made the Venator a versatile vessel capable of executing a wide range of military operations, from space battles to planetary ground assaults. The Venator-class Star Destroyer, introduced in 22 BBY during the early days of the Clone Wars, quickly became one of the most iconic warships in the Republic Navy. It was specifically designed to serve as a versatile capital ship, capable of engaging in both space battles and planetary assaults. The ship was equipped with heavy weapons, including turbo laser batteries and ion cannons, and was also a formidable carrier of Republic starfighters and ground forces. At the outbreak of the Clone Wars, the Venator-class was already an essential part of the Republic's military arsenal. The first major engagement involving Venators occurred during the First Battle of Geonosis, where the Republic Navy was called into action to assist in the liberation of the planet. The ships would soon become the backbone of the Republic's military strategy, deployed across the galaxy to battle the Separatist alliance. One of the Venators, the Resolute, played a key role in the defense of the planet Christophsis. The Separatists had established a blockade over the planet in an effort to control the crucial Corellian-run trade route and secure the planet's resources. Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, accompanied by Admiral Wolf Yularen, led a fleet of Venators and Pelta-class frigates in an attempt to break the blockade. Despite their efforts, the Republic fleet was pushed back, forcing a retreat behind the moon Lysis. The arrival of Obi-Wan Kenobi's Venator-class, the Negotiator, turned the tide, and Skywalker used a stealth corvette to penetrate the blockade, destroy Admiral Trench's flagship, the Invincible, and enable the Republic fleet to successfully attack the Separatist blockade. This victory paved the way for the Republic forces to land on Christophsis and continue the fight. The battles around Christophsis marked the beginning of a series of important campaigns, with the Venators continuing to see action. The Resolute was involved in numerous engagements, including one where it attempted to breach another Separatist blockade. After a failed initial attempt, the Republic forces, under the command of Jedi Master Yoda and Admiral Yularen, led a successful offensive, breaching the blockade and allowing clone forces to secure the planet. This success was followed by the 501st Legion's mission to rescue Jabba the Hutt's son, Rhoda, from the Bamar Order Monastery on the planet Teth. Despite significant losses, including a suicide attack by a vulture droid that damaged the Venator's port rear hangar, the mission ended in a Republic victory. As the war progressed, Venator-class Star Destroyers continued to serve as crucial assets in battles across the galaxy, including the defense of Ryloth. In this campaign, Republic Admiral Dao led a fleet of Venators to protect the Outer Rim world from Separatist forces. Despite their best efforts, the fleet suffered heavy losses as resources dwindled, and the Separatists escalated their attacks. However, despite the setbacks, the Republic was able to deliver critical supplies to the Ryloth resistance through covert operations, and Jedi Master Mace Windu played a key role in orchestrating the relief efforts. Following the battle, Jedi Master Yoda embarked on a diplomatic mission to the moon Ragosa, where he negotiated with King Katunko to secure Republic support for the establishment of a base on Toydaria. During the mission, Yoda was ambushed by the dark acolyte Asajj Ventress, but with the aid of his Jedi comrades, he was able to defeat Ventress's droid battalion and secure Katunko's support for the Republic. After the mission, Yoda traveled back to Coruscant aboard one of the Venator-class Star Destroyers, further cementing the vessel's importance in the Republic's war effort. As the Clone Wars raged on, the Venator-class Star Destroyer would continue to be a symbol of the Republic's military might, though the ship's eventual successor, the Imperial-class Star Destroyer, would emerge after the war's conclusion, marking the shift from the Republic to the Empire. Despite the Venator's eventual retirement, its legacy as a powerful and versatile warship would remain intact, forever tied to the pivotal events of the Clone Wars. The Malevolence campaign, which took place in 22 BBY, was a critical phase of the Clone Wars that saw the Separatists deploy one of their most dangerous weapons. The Malevolence, a massive subjugator-class heavy cruiser armed with two powerful mega-ion cannons. These cannons had the ability to disable the systems of Republic ships with devastating precision, giving General Grievous an edge in his assaults on the Republic fleet. The campaign began with the Malevolence wreaking havoc on Republic forces in the Pooh system, where Jedi Master Ares Nune's fleet of 3 Venators was annihilated by the cruiser's ion cannons. This devastating attack set the stage for Grievous's next target, the Abrigado system. Jedi Master Plo Koon was dispatched to intercept the Malevolence with his fleet, which included 3 Venators, including the flagship Triumphant. However, despite Koon's efforts, the Malevolence disabled the entire fleet with its port ion cannon, and all 3 Venators were destroyed in a devastating attack. The destruction of Plo Koon's fleet was a significant blow to the Republic, and it prompted a series of changes in strategy. The Republic's fleet was reorganized with a focus on convoy escort missions to ensure the protection of vital supply routes. Jedi Master Mace Windu oversaw the redeployment of battle groups to carry out these essential operations, and the Negotiator was positioned in a defensive formation, working alongside other Venators and Acclimators to safeguard Republic convoys. While these fleet movements were ongoing, Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano embarked on an unsanctioned mission to rescue Master Plo Koon and learn more about the Malevolence's capabilities. Their mission, while unauthorized, proved successful. They were able to locate Koon and uncover the nature of Grievous's deadly weapon, paving the way for further operations against the Malevolence. The Malevolence's next major attack occurred at the Rendelia system, where it destroyed a medical convoy consisting of a Venator and 3 Pelta-class medical frigates. This attack raised alarms within the Republic, particularly about the safety of the Kalita Shoals Medical Center, a critical facility for the Republic's war effort. In response, the Galactic Senate planned a counterattack by sending Shadow Squadron, a group of Y-wing bombers, to strike at the Malevolence, whose ion cannons were suspected to be its primary weapon. These Y-wings were stationed aboard the Resolute, one of the Republic's Venator-class Star Destroyers. Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was aboard the Negotiator, along with the Resolute and a 3rd Venator, decided to take a longer route to the Kalita Shoals to join the strike, while Skywalker led the Y-wings through the Kalita Nebula in an effort to intercept the Malevolence. The plan succeeded as the Y-wings managed to disable both of the Malevolence's ion cannons, preventing the cruiser from destroying the medical station. Meanwhile, Kenobi's fleet of 3 Venators began the pursuit of the retreating Malevolence. Although the Venator's firepower was formidable, they were unable to destroy the Malevolence outright. The cruiser managed to evade their fire and escape, but fate intervened when the Malevolence made a fatal hyperspace jump into the dead moon of Antar. The jump was caused by a Jedi boarding party that had infiltrated the ship and sabotaged its Navy computer. With its navigation systems crippled, the Malevolence collided with the moon, obliterating the Separatist warship and ending Grievous's campaign. The destruction of the Malevolence marked a significant victory for the Republic, but it also demonstrated the power of Grievous's forces and the threat they posed. Despite this, the Republic's strategic responses, including the efforts of Jedi generals and their fleet commanders, proved effective in thwarting the Malevolence's destructive path and minimizing its damage to Republic operations. The campaign underscored the importance of Venator-class Star Destroyers in the Republic Navy, as they played key roles in both offensive and defensive operations during this intense phase of the war. Following the Malevolence campaign, General Grievous and the Separatist forces launched further attacks aimed at undermining the Republic's war effort, but they encountered fierce resistance from the Republic fleet and Jedi generals. One of the first major engagements after the Malevolence campaign took place above the Rishi Moon. Republic starfighters under Jedi General Anakin Skywalker were tasked with eliminating a Separatist fighter unit in the Corvair sector. After this victory, Skywalker and Admiral Wolf Yularen aboard the Resolute planned a mission to neutralize a Separatist droid foundry on the moon Kudo 3. Skywalker decided to personally survey the site, discovering that enslaved workers were being used to operate the foundry. Rather than ordering an immediate strike, Skywalker opted to free the laborers, preventing unnecessary casualties. This mission highlighted his deep compassion and leadership, as well as his tendency to prioritize saving lives even in wartime. Afterward, the Republic fleet, which included 3 Consular-class frigates and 6 Venator-class Star Destroyers, was stationed in a quadrant of space to protect Kamino from potential Separatist attacks. This fleet was crucial for ensuring the safety of the vital cloning facilities. However, Grievous soon launched an attack on Rishi Station, a Republic outpost located on the Rishi Moon, using a group of Separatist commando droids to disable the station's defense systems. The droids tricked the station's personnel by sending an all-clear signal, allowing Grievous's fleet to approach undetected. The clone trooper officers and surviving Republic soldiers at the base eventually regained control of the station and disabled the all-clear signal, alerting the Republic fleet to the Separatist threat. Skywalker and Kenobi quickly responded, moving their fleet to the Rishi system. Once there, Grievous, believing he was outgunned by the Republic fleet, ordered a retreat. The Republic's strategic positioning and superior tactics forced Grievous to withdraw, marking a victory for the Republic in this skirmish. Despite this setback, Grievous continued his offensive, targeting Republic positions in multiple star systems. At Faline, Grievous managed to defeat a Republic battle group, forcing them into retreat. However, his next major target was Botha Wui. Here, Skywalker, Admiral Yularen and their fleet, including the Resolute, set up an ambush. Grievous led his 6 Munificent-class star frigates into the Versatility asteroid belt, unaware of the Republic trap awaiting him. Skywalker and Yularen's fleet had strategically placed hidden ATTEs, all-terrain tactical enforcers, within the asteroid field. As Grievous's fleet entered the belt, the Republic forces launched a coordinated attack. The Separatist ships were devastated by gunfire from the Venator-class Star Destroyers and the fire support from the ATTEs, which were well positioned to pick off the enemy ships. Grievous was forced to retreat in his fighter, narrowly escaping the destruction of his fleet. Following the success at Bothawui, the Republic's victory continued when Skywalker, along with his Padawan Ahsoka Tano and clone troops, infiltrated and destroyed the Separatist listening post on Skytop Station. This strategic victory disrupted Separatist intelligence gathering operations, weakening their ability to track Republic movements and plan further attacks. The destruction of Skytop Station, combined with the previous victories, represented a significant setback for the Separatists and an important moment in the larger struggle of the Clone Wars. In these campaigns, the Republic's fleet, primarily consisting of Venator-class Star Destroyers, played a pivotal role in ensuring Republic victories. Jedi generals like Skywalker and Kenobi were at the forefront of these battles, using their experience and strategic insight to outmaneuver and defeat Grievous's forces. The Republic's success was attributed not only to the firepower of its ships, but also to the resourcefulness and leadership of its commanders. The ongoing conflict between the Republic and the Separatists often led to direct confrontations with key Separatist figures, including Viceroy Newt Gunray and Count Dooku. Their roles in the Clone Wars became pivotal moments in several Republic operations, often leading to intense battles and diplomatic tensions. Tranquility and Gunray's capture. In 21 BBY, Senator Padme Amidala was sent on a diplomatic mission to Rhodia, where she was detained by Separatist forces under the command of Viceroy Newt Gunray. However, Amidala's protocol droid, C-3PO, managed to escape the capture and contacted a Republic clone trooper. The Tranquility, a consular-class frigate, was dispatched with the 41st Elite Corps under the command of Jedi Master Luminara Unduli and her Padawan Ahsoka Tano. Their mission was to rescue Amidala and arrest Gunray. In the process, Amidala's loyal ally, the senatorial representative Jar Jar Binks, managed to defeat Gunray's battle droids. Afterward, Gunray was apprehended and taken aboard the Tranquility for transport, where he was to face justice. However, trouble arose when Captain Pharaoh Arches, the officer assigned to guard Gunray, was revealed to be a Separatist agent, secretly working for the Separatists and planning to release Gunray. During this time, the Tranquility was ambushed by Separatist forces, including Draught-class boarding ships which breached the vessel's hull and deployed battle droids and the dark acolyte Asajj Ventress. As the battle unfolded, Ventress sabotaged the ship's engine room, causing widespread malfunctions throughout the Tranquility. She confronted Jedi Masters Luminara Unduli and Ahsoka Tano, who were protecting Gunray, and engaged in a fierce duel with them. Meanwhile, Captain Argius, working in secret for the Separatists, managed to escape with Gunray, freeing him from his captivity. This marked a significant failure for the Republic in keeping Gunray in custody, as his escape once again placed him under the protection of the Separatists. Parallel to the trouble with Gunray, General Anakin Skywalker was tasked with capturing Count Dooku, the Sith Lord and Separatist leader. Skywalker was sent aboard one of Dooku's own frigates under the guise of surrendering to the Separatists. This was a dangerous and bold move, as it was a trap designed to lure Dooku into a confrontation with the Jedi. General Obi-Wan Kenobi also boarded the same frigate, and the two Jedi confronted Dooku in an effort to capture or eliminate him. However, their mission did not go as planned, and they found themselves embroiled in a prolonged pursuit. Despite their efforts, the Republic fleet led by the Resolute was unable to successfully destroy Dooku's Munificent-class Star frigate during the battle. After a failed chase through the Vanker system, the Jedi generals were picked up by their clone forces and Ahsoka Tano, who had been dispatched aboard a new class shuttle for their extraction. Although the Republic was not able to secure a lasting victory over the Separatists in this campaign, the events underscored the high-stakes nature of the Clone Wars. The capture of Gunray and his escape, along with the continued efforts to track and capture Count Dooku, highlighted the ongoing conflict and the Republic's struggle to maintain control in a war with an ever-present Separatist threat. These incidents also showcase the critical role played by Jedi generals, clone troopers, and key figures like Padme Amidala in the Republic's fight against the Separatists. The Outer Rim became a crucial battlefield during the Clone Wars, with a series of decisive conflicts taking place between the Republic and Separatist forces. One such engagement occurred above Quell, where Jedi Master Aayla Secura led a task force of 3 Venator-class Star Destroyers against a Separatist fleet consisting of at least 5 Munificent-class star frigates. The situation quickly turned desperate as the Separatist forces outnumbered the Republic fleet. Secura's flagship, the Liberty, was heavily damaged, and the Republic was on the verge of defeat. To rescue Secura and her fleet, the Republic dispatched reinforcements in the form of the Resolute, commanded by Admiral Yularen and General Anakin Skywalker. Despite the arrival of the Resolute, all 3 of Secura's Venators were destroyed, and the Separatists emerged victorious. During the retreat, the Consular-class ship carrying Secura and her rescuers made a navigational error, accidentally jumping to the Meridan system. On Meridan, Secura and her forces defended a Lurmen village from Separatist forces under weapons designer Locke Durd. The Republic eventually secured the planet with 3 of Yularen's Venators. The Republic also launched an offensive to retake the Outer Rim world of Ryloth from Separatist control. A fleet of 3 Venator-class Star Destroyers, the Resolute, Defender, and Redeemer, was sent under the command of General Skywalker, Admiral Yularen, and Ahsoka Tano. Their mission was to break Captain Martuk's planetary blockade. However, they were soon surprised by a reinforcement of 4 Munificent-class frigates, forcing a retreat. During the battle, a Vulture droid rammed the Resolute's bridge, injuring Admiral Yularen, and despite their best efforts, the Redeemer was destroyed in the chaos of battle. The remaining ships, Resolute and Defender, managed to escape the system, but the loss was significant. Despite the retreat, Skywalker and his team were ordered by Jedi Masters Mace Windu and Obi-Wan Kenobi to continue the assault. With the Defender badly damaged, Skywalker devised a daring plan to ram the Defender directly into Tuk's Lucrehulk-class battleship. Meanwhile, Ahsoka Tano and the Resolute would employ a Marg Sabal tactic, targeting the Munificent frigates. Skywalker's plan succeeded, with the Defender ramming the Lucrehulk and the Resolute's Y-wing bombers, disabling all 6 Munificent frigates. This crippled the Separatist fleet, allowing the Republic invasion fleet to land on Ryloth. The battle ended with the successful retaking of the planet by Republic ground forces, marking a significant victory but highlighting the high cost of war in the Outer Rim. During the Clone Wars, 2 significant battles occurred on Felucia and Devaron, both involving crucial interventions by the Resolute, a Venator-class Star Destroyer. The first Battle of Felucia saw Jedi Master Plo Koon lead a naval force of 3 Venators to break through a Separatist blockade over the planet. Koon's fleet was able to destroy 1 Munificent-class frigate and damage another, enabling his fighters and gunships to reach the surface. This allowed the Republic to evacuate stranded troops. The battle, however, was followed by an even more urgent event. Bounty hunter Cad Bane infiltrated the Jedi Temple and stole a holocron, planning to open it for its secrets. This theft led him to attack Jedi Master Bola Ropal on the planet Devaron. Upon learning of Bane's involvement, the Resolute was dispatched to Devaron to oppose him. In the ensuing battle, the Resolute destroyed 4 Munificent frigates, significantly crippling Bane's fleet. The Separatist frigate in which Bane was located was disabled in its hyperdrive, and Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and Republic clones boarded it in a desperate attempt to save Master Ropal. Unfortunately, Ropal was fatally electrocuted during a skirmish, but the frigate was eventually destroyed. With Bane escaping into the chaos, he disguised himself as a clone trooper, returning to the Resolute temporarily with Republic forces. Once aboard the Resolute, Bane managed to steal a parked V-19 Torrent starfighter and a Ciliar 31 ring, escaping into hyperspace. His next moves took him to Glee Anselm and Rhodia, where he kidnapped 2 Force-sensitive children for Darth Sidious's sinister experiments. However, his escape was short-lived. On Naboo, Bane was apprehended by the Jedi and transferred back to the Resolute, where he was interrogated. Despite his capture, Bane accompanied Jedi Masters Mace Windu and Obi-Wan Kenobi to Blackstall Station to recover the holocron, but he managed to escape again. The Jedi, determined to stop his plans, eventually analyzed Bane's Rogue-class starfighter aboard the Resolute, and were able to track him to Mustafar, where they rescued the kidnapped children from the bounty hunters' clutches. Bane's actions showcase the persistent threat posed by the Separatists and their bounty hunters during the Clone Wars, even as the Republic continued to counter their attacks. The Kurita incident occurred during the Clone Wars, involving the hijacking of the Republic's Venator-class Star Destroyer, the Renown, by Separatist forces. This event unfolded as part of the Separatists' plan to disrupt a vital strategy conference held by the Republic at the Valor space station in the Kurita system. Unbeknownst to the Republic, the Separatists intended to use the Renown as a bomb, loading it with thousands of canisters of rhydonium, a highly volatile starship fuel mined from the planet Abafar. The Renown had been stationed above Abafar, a planet rich in rhydonium, where the Separatists were extracting the fuel. After hijacking the vessel, the Separatists planned to transport it to the Kurita system and ram it into the Republic's Valor space station, potentially devastating the entire Republic Navy in one strike. The Republic's D Squad, a covert unit of astromech droids and a dumb series pit droid, led by Colonel Meeber Gascon, was mistakenly brought aboard the Renown, believing it was there to rescue them. However, once aboard, they discovered the hijacking and the true nature of the mission. Upon reaching the Star Destroyer's hangar bay, Colonel Gascon and the droids found the ship loaded with rhydonium canisters, realizing that the Renown was essentially a ticking bomb that could obliterate the Republic's forces if detonated. In a desperate bid to stop the Separatists, D-Squad tried to prevent the ship from reaching its destination, but encountered several challenges, including a swarm of buzz droids deployed by the Separatists to hinder their progress. These buzz droids were ultimately defeated with the sacrifice of M5BZ, one of the team members, who heroically opened an airlock to eject the buzz droids into hyperspace. As the Renown arrived in the Kurita system, the D-Squad worked to delay the Separatists' countdown to detonation. The super tactical droid in charge of the mission tried to initiate the sequence but was stopped by R2-D2, who managed to prevent him from reaching the detonator. This delay allowed the D-Squad to trigger the explosion prematurely. The resulting detonation obliterated the Renown and created a massive explosion, engulfing the Valor space station and its surrounding fleet. The blast destroyed an Archidans-class light cruiser and severely damaged the space station. The Kurita incident was a significant and costly victory for the Republic, as it thwarted the Separatists' plan, but at the expense of a Republic ship, the lives of several brave droids, and damage to the Valor station. This event underscored the ongoing threat posed by the Separatists and the determination of the Republic's forces to protect critical assets at any cost. The Battle of Coruscant was a pivotal conflict near the end of the Clone Wars, orchestrated by Darth Sidious to both capture Supreme Chancellor Palpatine and bring Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker closer to the dark side of the Force. The Separatists, led by General Grievous, launched a massive surprise attack on Coruscant, the Republic's capital, while most of the Republic's fleet was tied up in the Outer Rim sieges. The Coruscant Home Defense Fleet, largely untested, was quickly overwhelmed by the Separatist fleet, which included Grievous' flagship, the Providence-class Dreadnought Invisible Hand. As the Separatists took control of the capital, Grievous captured Palpatine, leading to a chase across the Federal District before taking the Chancellor aboard his flagship. In response, the Republic deployed the Open Circle Fleet, which included Venator-class Star Destroyers and Jedi Generals Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. The Republic's forces engaged the Separatist fleet, including numerous Munificent-class frigates, Recusant-class destroyers, and Lucrehulk-class battleships, in an attempt to stop the capture of Palpatine and defend the capital. Kenobi and Skywalker eventually entered the chaos aboard their Etai II Actis-class interceptors and made their way to the Invisible Hand, where they encountered resistance from Separatist fighters and droids. They managed to breach the hangar bay after Skywalker destroyed the deflector shields, allowing them to land inside the flagship. Upon boarding the ship, the Jedi freed Palpatine and confronted Count Dooku. killing him in a duel, which dealt a major blow to the Separatists' leadership. Meanwhile, the Venator-class Star Destroyer Guarlara engaged the Invisible Hand, exchanging heavy fire. Though Guarlara inflicted damage on Grievous's ship, the Invisible Hand regained control, but Grievous managed to escape in an escape pod, retreating to safety aboard the Lucrehulk-class battleship Profusion. Despite the Jedi's success in rescuing Palpatine and killing Dooku, the Separatists still posed a threat. However, Grievous was eventually hunted down by Kenobi on Utapau, and shortly after, Anakin, now fully consumed by the dark side, betrayed the Jedi and massacred the Separatist Council on Mustafar, marking the end of the Clone Wars. This event led to Palpatine's complete control over the galaxy, transforming the Republic into the Galactic Empire. The Battle of Coruscant was a defining moment in the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. The Siege of Mandalore and the events surrounding Order 66 marked a tragic turning point in the Clone Wars, culminating in significant losses for the Republic and the Jedi. The Venator-class Star Destroyer Tribunal, commanded by Ahsoka Tano, was a key ship in the Open Circle fleet during the Siege of Mandalore. Tano, alongside Commander Rex and the 501st Legion, captured Maul, the former Sith Lord, on Mandalore, and began the journey back to Coruscant with Maul imprisoned aboard. However, on the way back, Order 66 was initiated, leading the clones to turn on the Jedi. The clones tried to kill both Tano and Maul, but Tano managed to free Maul as a distraction, giving her time to remove Rex's control chip, freeing him from the brainwashing. The ensuing battle aboard the Tribunal led to its destruction when Maul disabled the ship's hyperdrive. The cruiser crashed on a desolate moon, with Tano, Rex, and Maul the only survivors. The wreckage remained on the moon, buried in snow, until the Empire discovered it. Darth Vader, Skywalker's Sith persona, personally investigated the crash and retrieved Tano's lightsaber. In another event, Jedi Master Chiata commanded a Venator-class Star Destroyer in the final hours of the Clone Wars. After destroying a Separatist dreadnought, Chiata's ship was critically damaged and crash-landed on the isolated world of Zepho. Chiata, her Padawan, and their clones survived the crash, but with the execution of Order 66, the clones turned on the Jedi, killing Chiata and her Padawan. The survivors were buried by local villagers, and the wreckage remained on Zepho, eventually inhabited by local fauna. Additionally, Master Jaro Tapal commanded the Albedo Brave, a Venator-class Star Destroyer, during a campaign on Braca. After Order 66 was issued, Tapal and his Padawan, Cal Kestis, were forced to fight their way through the clones. Though they managed to kill many clones and reach the escape pods, Tapal was fatally wounded. In a final act, Tapal sabotaged the ship's reactors to cover their escape, causing the Albedo Brave to be destroyed, taking the remaining clones with it. After the formation of the Galactic Empire, the Venator-class Star Destroyers continued to serve as a capital ship in the Imperial Navy, albeit with several modifications. These ships were repainted, removing the red markings of the Republic, and were now painted in a whitish-gray color, similar to their Imperial successors. Despite the new color scheme, the Venators remained powerful and dominant warships within the Empire's fleet. The Venator-class Star Destroyers were still in use as key capital ships, and officers loyal to the Empire were given command over them. One particular Venator-class ship, newly constructed by Santhi shipyards, played a significant role in the early days of the Empire. It was used as the transport for Emperor Sheev Palpatine, who, after the Republic's transformation into the Empire, visited the construction site of the DS-1 Death Star mobile battle station, in orbit around Geonosis. Alongside the Emperor were Wilhuff Tarkin, who had been granted the title of Moff, and Anakin Skywalker, now the Sith Lord Darth Vader, after his fall to the dark side at the end of the Clone Wars. The Venator-class Star Destroyer carrying these high-ranking officials was able to travel directly from the core worlds to Geonosis, without needing to check in with Sentinel Base, a testament to the power and authority now centralized in the Empire. The ship was accompanied by at least 2 other Venators and was assigned to protect the Death Star, marking its continued importance within the Imperial military structure. Following the formation of the Galactic Empire, Darth Vader took command of a Venator-class Star Destroyer for a period of time. This Venator was equipped with Vader's personal meditation chamber, a key part of his routine. During one particular meditation session, Vader was repeatedly interrupted by Imperial officers, which led to his infamous display of anger and power. When Admiral Mummert failed to meet a deadline for deploying starships to the Hordlo system, Vader, frustrated by his incompetence, used the Force to choke the Admiral to death. Similarly, when an Imperial general reported insufficient troop deployments to the Winnick system, Vader had him choked for the same reason. A third interruption came from an officer reporting that Vader's personal TIE fighter could not be repaired, leading to yet another Force choke. Vader's irritation also extended to the MSE-6 series repair droid in the room, which had observed the entire sequence of events. After the droid accidentally bumped into his leg, Vader destroyed it in anger. By 14 BBY, this Venator-class Star Destroyer was replaced by the more advanced Imperial-class Star Destroyer Perilous as Vader's flagship. However, their presence on the wreck was noticed by the local Scrapper Guild, who reported it to the Empire. In response, Crosshair, once a member of the Bad Batch and now an Imperial soldier, was sent with a squad of Imperial troops to eliminate them. Despite the ship's deteriorated condition, much of the Venator's systems remained operational, including its engines and weapons. The Bad Batch used these to their advantage to try and escape. As they attempted to flee through the main starboard engine, Crosshair ordered it to be turned on, hoping to kill them. However, the Bad Batch managed to rig the engine with explosives, causing the engine tube to break off while the ion drive was still active. This exposed Crosshair to the full force of the ion drive, severely burning his face before the engine was deactivated. He required immediate medical treatment for his injuries. During the early months of the Galactic Empire, as the Empire consolidated control over Kamino, a fleet of 3 Venator-class Star Destroyers was stationed above Tipoca City to oversee the evacuation of the Empire's clones. Goods and personnel were transported from the city to the waiting Star Destroyers under the supervision of Vice Admiral Edmund Rampart and Commander Crosshair. Once the evacuation neared completion, the Venators moved away from the city, but Crosshair lured his former squadmates, the Bad Batch, into a trap by capturing Hunter. After the Bad Batch arrived at Tipoca City, Crosshair, in an attempt to convince the others to join the Empire, killed his former comrades. However, ES-02, realizing the betrayal, escaped the city aboard the last outgoing transport and returned to the Venators. On the bridge of one of the Venators, Rampart reported to Governor Wilhuff Tarkin that all personnel and technology were safely in Imperial control. Tarkin then gave the order to destroy Tipoca City. The Venators moved into position and Rampart gave the command to open fire. The Venator's turbolasers unleashed a barrage, setting the city ablaze and causing massive destruction. The bombardment tore through the domed buildings, toppled platforms, and destroyed the underwater stilts, causing the city to collapse into the ocean. The attack continued until the Tipoca City military complex was destroyed and submerged. Once the bombardment ceased, a clone stormtrooper reported to Rampart that all Kaminoan facilities had been destroyed. Satisfied with the outcome, Rampart withdrew the fleet to rendezvous with the rest of the Imperial forces, leaving the ruins of the city to sink beneath the ocean's depths. The Bad Batch, along with Crosshair and AZ-3, narrowly escaped the disaster. Several months after the destruction of the Kaminoan cities and cloning facilities, multiple Venator-class Star Destroyers were stationed over Coruscant, with several remaining in orbit above Imperial City. Among them was Vice Admiral Rampart's personal Venator, VZ-114, which was docked at the Imperial shipyard for repairs and maintenance. While Rampart's ship was being worked on, he attended a session of the Imperial Senate to oversee the passage of the Imperial Defense Recruitment Bill. The bill aimed to transition the Imperial military from a clone army to a recruitment-based force. To expose Rampart's treachery regarding the destruction of Kamino, Senator Rio Chuchi collaborated with the rogue clones of Clone Force 99. As Chuchi stalled the passage of the bill within the Senate building, the rogue clones infiltrated VZ-114 to retrieve its command log, which contained records of the Kamino destruction. After battling through the ship's clone stormtroopers, they extracted the log and fired up the Venator's engines. As the ship slid off its docking clamps, they managed to escape in an escape pod, leaving the Venator to collapse to the bottom of the shipyard. The extracted command log was delivered to the Senate building, where recorded footage of Rampart's fleet destroying Kamino was shown to the entire Senate. Despite Rampart's arrest, the Imperial Defense Recruitment Bill was still passed on the authority of Emperor Palpatine, solidifying the transition to a non-clone-based Imperial military. In 18 BBY, a Venator-class Star Destroyer came to the aid of a Gozanti-class cruiser under the command of Captain Pierce, which was under attack by rogue clones. Following this incident, several Venators were deployed to the planet Ord Mantell as part of an Imperial raid on Ord Mantell City. The goal of the raid was to capture the rogue clone known as Omega and subsequently occupy the planet. The operation was part of the Empire's efforts to neutralize rogue clones and secure its control over key territories. During the construction of the DS-1 Death Star mobile battle station in orbit above Geonosis, at least 3 Venator-class Star Destroyers were stationed nearby. On one of these Venators, Darth Sidious, the Galactic Emperor, and Darth Vader observed the progress of the Death Star's construction, accompanied by Wilhuff Tarkin. This marked a significant moment in the Empire's rise, as the superweapon was being built to secure the Empire's dominance. The bridge crew aboard this particular Venator had transitioned from clone officers to human personnel, such as Barrow Oikun, who had previously served in the Republic Navy but now served the Empire, reflecting the Empire's shift from a clone army to a recruitment-based military. During the campaign at Salient in the Salient system in 18 BBY, Moff Wilhuff Tarkin commanded multiple Venator-class Star Destroyers, which had been reassigned from Telos. These ships supported Tarkin's flagship, the Imperial 1-class Star Destroyer Executrix, as part of an operation against Captain Saw Gerrera. The Venators launched ARC-170 starfighters to participate in the campaign, which was part of the Empire's efforts to suppress resistance. At this point, both the Venator class and the ARC-170 starfighters were considered outdated by the Empire, as newer models were beginning to replace them in Imperial service. In 15 BBY, the crew of a Venator-class Star Destroyer named the Strikefast encountered an unidentified planet while pursuing smugglers in wild space. Following Imperial UA protocols, the crew deployed teams of clone stormtroopers and Imperial Navy troopers to the planet's surface to search for any signs of intelligent alien life. During this operation, an exiled officer from the Chiss Ascendancy, Mithro Nurodo, better known as Thrawn, noticed the Imperial presence and began to harass the troopers. Thrawn, utilizing his tactical brilliance, managed to kill a clone stormtrooper, steal their armor, and infiltrate the Strikefast undetected. However, he was quickly discovered. Impressed by his strategic intellect and military knowledge, Captain Voss Park decided to bring Thrawn to Coruscant for a personal audience with Emperor Palpatine, leading to Thrawn's eventual rise within the Empire. Between 9 BBY and 2 BBY, at least 4 Venator-class Star Destroyers were stationed above Coruscant as escorts to an Imperial-class Star Destroyer. This deployment occurred while Morgan Elsbeth was presenting her designs for the TIE/Defender multi-role starfighter to the Empire. These Venators served to protect and secure the area while Elsbeth showcased her advanced starfighter prototype, marking another significant moment of Imperial military development. Around 2 BBY, a Venator-class Star Destroyer commanded by Imperial Moff R arrived above the planet Namzor to suppress an insurgent uprising and secure rebel-held coaxium supplies. The Venator deployed V-Wing starfighters, which carried out strafing runs on the insurgent positions, causing significant casualties. However, when R noticed a coaxium deposit near the rebels' lines, he ordered the starfighters to return to the Venator to secure the supplies. Darth Vader, who was also involved in the attack, ignored R's orders and continued to strafe the insurgents' positions. As a result, both the insurgents and the coaxium deposit were destroyed, showing Vader's tendency to prioritize military action over strategic objectives. At least one Venator-class Star Destroyer fought on the front lines of the Galactic Civil War, alongside a fleet that included half a dozen Imperial-class Star Destroyers. The Venator's presence in this later phase of the conflict indicates its continued use by the Empire, despite the introduction of more advanced warships like the Imperial-class Star Destroyer. These vessels were instrumental in engaging the Rebel Alliance during key battles, showcasing the enduring legacy of the Venator class even as the Galactic Empire phased out older models in favor of newer, more powerful ships. Following the formation of the Galactic Empire, a significant number of older Venator-class Star Destroyers were scrapped, especially as the larger Imperial-class Star Destroyer began to dominate the Imperial fleet. As early as 19 BBY, many of these Venators were decommissioned and dismantled on planets like Braca, a notable location for shipbreaking. The dismantling process continued until 14 BBY, with workers carefully salvaging useful materials from the older ships. These parts were repurposed to support the construction of newer Imperial machinery and warships, marking the end of the Venator's active service in the Imperial fleet and the transition to more advanced designs. The Venator-class Star Destroyer's legacy continued long after its initial phase of service, as its design influenced the development of the Victory-class Star Destroyer and the more famous Imperial-class Star Destroyer, the flagship of the Galactic Empire. However, even as newer designs emerged, the Venator remained in production until at least 5 BBY. Some Venators were still stationed, including one at the Anthem Prime orbital dockyard, several months after the Battle of Yavin. The wreckage of these Star Destroyers continued to hold significance in the galaxy. During the battle at Padme's tomb around 3 ABY, the former Naboo royal handmaidens used the wreck of a Venator to access Vader's command codes. The Vanguard Squadron of the New Republic also encountered a Venator wreck in the Xavian Abyss, while on a mission to escort transports. This encounter was part of a larger New Republic ambush, revealing their prototype Starhawk battleship. Later, in the New Republic era, the wreckage of a Venator-class Star Destroyer was discovered on the junk world of Necropolis in 34 ABY. Here, Rey, a scavenger and Force-sensitive individual, salvaged parts from the wreck to repair the Millennium Falcon, viewing the junked Star Destroyer as a feast for her scavenging needs. The Venator's influence and remnants remained a part of the galaxy's history, both in physical form and in the legacy it left behind.